Welcome, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce Bruno Valentini, who holds a master's degree in design and technology from the Federal University Rio Grande do Sul. He is a professional with over 15 years experience in strategic design and marketing. And as a product manager at Mconf Technologies, he is focused on improving the user experience based on data collected from quantitative and qualitative research. And additionally, he's responsible for gathering project requirements, design user journeys, and coordinating the development of low and high fidelity prototypes and application testing. That all boils down to, if you like the user interface now with BigBlueButton, it's going to get a lot better thanks to the work from Bruno and his team. And with that, Bruno, I will turn the virtual microphone over to you.
Thank you, Fred. I would like to thank you also, Julia, Rafaela, and Tyler, which are other designers who are working together to develop this project. So I want to apologize because I am with a cold, so my throat is hurting a little bit, but sometimes I start coughing. I will like to say sorry before it happens. So. I'm also want to thank RNP, which is a Mconf client who is supporting this project also. Okay. Let's start with why. Why we have the idea and start the working on a new UI for BBB. So we start with some things that we heard from our users that I'm going to show some comments. The user said that sometimes it's too complex to use the UI, is too confusing, or sometimes they like the BBB, but they got lost between a lot of features. So this is something that as UX designers hurting my heart. So we start to developing a new research to see how can we improve the UI for BBB. So how can we explain all these feedbacks from our clients in one image? We asked them to describe, and they said that is something like this. They have a lot of features in front of them, and they get scared, and they don't know if they press something, they going to break the the software or something like this. So they have the basic to conduct a class, but sometimes they need some help to improve their skills during a virtual classroom. So if we can summarize what our users are feeling, they say that we have like a powerful tool, but they sometimes they don't know how exactly extract this potential from the product because of this. They got lost or they have afraid to break something. So with these feedbacks, we starting the research by doing a qualitative and quantitative research. We've been doing researching in in three specific areas. The first one is with the user, so we start doing deep interviews with teachers and students. We also here at Mconf we have like feedbacks at the end of session. I'm going to show later, but the users can describe what was the problem and or giving a specific feedback. We also have like a dashboard of usage of features, and I'm going to show later also. The other approach is in the market. So we start to do a research between other players, comparing, for example, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, and see how they have the interface and how they solve some problems that we have here. And also we've been reading a lot of academic papers to see what are the trends for the virtual classrooms, which is very nice to have insights. And the last but not less important is the current state analysis of the UI that we have today. So we start by checking what we have here and see how can we improve our interface. So here are some examples of what we found during the research. Here's some feedbacks that we collected during the deep interview. So we have some very interesting feedbacks. For example, we have like an unappealing interface and I don't feel desire to explore. So the people think the interface is ugly and they don't feel comfortable to start clicking in other things. Another feedback is this one that I think it's the one that I said before. I have afraid of doing things intentionally. So teachers, for example, who don't have like a training before use, they get afraid of clicking something and start to break the BBB. Here are the feedbacks of the end of session that we have in ELOs. We have also in our product from our client RNP, which have like over 100,000 feedbacks. In total, we have almost 400,000 feedbacks. So we've been reading these every day. So we read all the pain points that the users have each day. So this feedback of the end of session works in this way. So the the user rates the experience between 1 and to 10. If they have some problem, they could check where were the problem, and after that they can specify. So we have like a very deep feedback, and also we can visualize how the rating session are working. So we can see in a in this kind of graph that we share with our internal team, with the developers, to follow where is the main problem or what are the wishes from our clients. So it's very nice because we can do a lot of filters, for example, by device, by browsers, by role in the session. We also have here at Mconf a dashboard that we can measure the features used by session. So every day we can see how many sessions we had and how many features and what features were used. So we can put in order. So here the most used features, for example, the microphone, the camera, and the chat were the top of mind from the users. And some tools that we think that were very nice and very useful for teachers, they are not really used. For example, polls, they have only 1% of usage. So we start to crossing all this data to understand how can we improve, for example, the usage of polls, how can we improve the teacher to to give more dynamism in the class, how can we became a benchmark for other players. So after that we can check that we have 4 main pain points for our users. The one is the features are hidden, so they would like to use poll, for example, but they don't know where the poll tool is. Other pain point is the features are out of context. For example, we have like random select users together with the sharing video content, for example. They are different categories, but in the same place. Other things are poorly positioned, so the feature is there, you can see, but it's not clear for the user to use. For example, we can improve the icon or something like that, or other tools that are too complex to use, so the users have afraid to use that tool. So what we have been doing during the last, I think, almost 10 months, we've been researching a lot and talking between the design teams. We have like a weekly call with Tyler, so we can chat and bring insights from both teams to see how the work is going, where we're going. And then after a long time talking and trying to define what's going to be the future, we choose some features which were the main concern about the users and how can we improve to give more more dynamism to the software. So we can summarize every feedback. The general feedback is that it's hard to find the tools or they are hiding, or the tools use a lot of space in the UI. So we start by doing the wireframe for the main screen. So we've been working on how can we separate tools and how can we put in the new UI. So we have like this first design, which is in paper, of course, but we sliced the wireframe in 4 big areas, which are the always on or active tools. So it's tools that moderators and viewers can use it. So they are essentials. For example, the chat, the user lists. We also have the interaction tools. These are tools designed to give more dynamism to the class. So for example, tools like polls or timers. So the teacher can use this. The moderator of the room can set this to bring more dynamism to the class. The other part is for setting room tools. So you can choose your preference. For example, turn on or turn off dark mode, turn notifications, going to contact, to support. And the last area is the multimedia management. So everything that we want to show in the whiteboard area is going to be on the multimedia management. So you can upload a presentation, share a video, and things like that. So then we start to do like a card sorting, taking all the features and grouping them and putting them in the places where they make sense. For example, here we have the 4 main areas, and each area we start to put the tools. So here, just an example. And then after that, we start to go deeply to understand how the feature is going to work in the new wireframe. And also, just a disclaimer: the prototypes shown here, they are just prototype. We're still working on them and improving. We're going to, like, for example, unify the designs between the blind side networks and the Mconf design team. So we have like a final version, but these ones are still in work, okay? So this is some feedbacks that we selected to start developing and designing some specific tools. This first one, it's about the chat experience, because we understand that the BBB is not only for education, but it's also a social tool, because students interact with another student, students interact with teacher, students interact with the technology. So how can you improve this experience to give more joy to the classrooms and start to become like a reference in this area? So we start doing some paper prototypes to see how it's going to work for public chat and private chat. And then we go into the high fidelity prototypes. Here we have some Tyler designs that is showing how can we improve the chat experience. Here we have, like, for example, give more attractive visual attraction to the chat, coming with the preview for links, putting GIFs. We also have like notifications for private messages. Here we have like a zoom in these prototypes. So this is something that we understand that could give more opportunity to people interact with each other. The other thing that we bring here is the breakout room experience. because this is one tool that we understand that in the users' feedbacks are a really nice tool, but sometimes a little bit complex to use, so they don't use a lot as we wish. So starting by doing some rough layouts here in paper to understand how it's going to be working on the new UI. Uh, a lot of these ideas became after we saw the breakout room visions that Kurt and Tyler have been working. So it's very inspiring to work on this. So we have like two steps. The first one to select and set the breakout rooms, and then we start to breakout room view. So here we have like the setting for the breakout room. So you can choose how many rooms, how many users, how many time, because today we have like the breakout rooms in a new tab, but we want to put in the same area because the teacher can so we can improve the educational time loss. So the teacher don't need to change the tab, but he can do it all in the same interface. Here some another paper prototypes, and then we start to design how it's going to be in the new UI. So here we have like, for example, the setting rooms. We may have like a floating window in the future, but it's something, it's like a dream that we have. As I said before, this is just prototypes. It's not the final version. It's just studies. One idea to improve the breakout room experience, it's to have like, for example, a drag and drop with the camera from the user, so you can see the student and drag them to inside a breakout room. We also have like the breakout room vision that were inspired by the Kurt and Tyler work. So the teacher can see each breakout room, can also see the whiteboard in each room, and have this in the one page. Don't have to go to the other tabs in the browser. Another thing that our users said a lot is that they want to set up the mic and camera before the meeting start, because sometimes with the pre-test with the mic and camera, they got lost because they don't know if they are listening or with the mic open and the camera. So we start working on this. So we develop a profile area. So in the sidebar, we're going to have like a place where you can set all the your devices and preference. For example, you can set your microphone, your headphone, your camera, and backgrounds. Select between dark mode or not. And after that, you go into the room. So here we have like a prototype. You can set everything before the meeting. After that, you can here this one idea that we have, like, to, if you are shy and don't want to use a camera, you can choose like an avatar. So it's also like an approach to bring more joy to the software. Okay, here. And after you set all your devices and your preference, you feel ready and you click and you join the room. So the idea is to use this as a panel inside the main room. So we have like here the profile settings. So you click here and you can change your devices. Because today, when we need to change our devices or something like this, we have like a floating window over the presentation. So if you are a student or a teacher and you want to keep the eye on the presentation, this is bad. So using the approach of the sidebar, you can change your settings and keep the eye on the presentation at the same time. We also listen a lot from the teachers, is the experience between uploading presentation and changing them when they are giving the lecture. So how can we improve this experience so the teacher will not lose time doing this? So when we have the orange side here, which are the multimedia area that I showed before. So in this area, it's going to be like a management for files. So here is the example. You click on the sidebar and you can upload your files by drag and drop or paste a YouTube video to share in the main screen. This is like an improvement of the first prototype. So we can have like a preview of the PDF, so it's easier to see what is going to be shown in the main area. If you can upload more than one file and go between them. Here it's another improvement. This is based on Tyler's work. So we took the idea and start to working on it because I think it's a very, very nice tool for teachers. Oh, sorry. We also here have been thinking that is a good place to put the smart layout because they are hidden today. So in this approach, we can have the camera layout here in the same place where going to affect the main area presentation. We get into deeper, so we start to see how can we improve these features. So we start to doing like a mini bar here to facilitate the teacher's work, for example. So if it's like a two buttons, so close the presentation or manage your file. So you click here, the bar expands or collapses, so you can travel between your contents. This is something that we've been working. It's like an idea. It's how can we put like for interactive tools in the same place. So we've been working like an area that we are calling plugins or widget gallery, where you can develop new features and put in the same place instead of starting putting in the UI in some places randomly. So there's going to be a place dedicated to the new features. So here we have an example. So we can, for example, develop a timer timer tool. You can put there, and the teacher can, for example, set with a pin here and select as a favorite tool. And every time he start a class, the timer is already set. So here an example of the tool pinned. Here is just an idea of the tool using the sidebar experience. So after that, we got after these studies and these prototypes and some tests that we have been doing, we found three things that were very nice. The one, having a design system and a classification of tools in places is became more accessible because it's easier to the user know where it's going. Another thing, by getting a new UI, it's that we know that teachers that we've been talking, they like are multitask professionals. They sometimes need to upload the presentation while reading the chat, while checking the set of the devices. So the idea is to bring more affordance to the UI, and also I think this the main goal is to bring a friendly product, to have a good experience and start to change the users for brand lovers. So when they love to use our platform, they start to sharing the news. So it improves the use of the BBB. Here are some next steps. As I said before, these are prototypes, are just conceptual. We have been talking with Tyler to unify the designs and start to develop a prototype interactive prototype, so we can test with the real users. So we have like a almost high fidelity prototype with interaction. So we are writing a script of actions that we're going to see if it's according to our approach for the user. So we ask for the user test some features and see how difficult it is to find and things like that. And after the test, we want to read the feedbacks and refine the prototypes for a final version for internal tests, and then to release to the market. I would like to thank everybody here for your attention. If you have some feedbacks or idea that you like to share, please scan the QR code and fill the form. That will going to be very nice for our design team to keep improving the experience for you all. Thank you very much, guys.
Bruno, that was great. Especially like the earlier part where you were getting like 400,000 feedback from. The challenge for UI is to try to separate all the details and just look at the big picture and what are the ones that really care about. I like the ones that you broke it down to 4. I think point I would like to make here is that if you look at a lot of open source projects, they don't do much with UI. And that's what we have been trying to do in BigBlueButton. I think one of the comments is valid that the UI may look a bit dated. That's actually because we tried to build a UI that would last for a few years and that we weren't changing it over and over again. And as we went from version, when the new UI, like, what was the HTML5 client? So that was 2.0 probably, because 2.2 during COVID we had it. So over the years, the UI has maintained pretty consistently, or it has been pretty familiar. I wouldn't say the UI is inherently consistent, as you pointed out, Bruno, that the select random user is right next to something else. But yeah, hence we have the place where it's really time to start looking at what the UI is, and we have had a lot of feedback on it as well. Any feedback or comments that you have on Bruno's presentation?
Hi, Bruno. Timo here. Very nice presentation. Thank you very much. I really love this, the work that you're doing. One question I would have is, do you have any idea about the time scope, the timeline maybe of this? Are there any priorities as well involved in this, in what you presented?
Yes, we have the idea to start the UX testing as soon as possible, but until August we want to have like our tests is already done, and then at the end of the year start with the MVP. So we have like a high fidelity prototype that people around the world can start to use to give the first impressions. But this is the dates that we have in mind, but we know that sometimes go faster or slower depending to the amount of the work. But the idea is to have like the tests until August and start to doing like the development until the end of the year.
That sounds very cool. Thank you. I know there's a lot of things going on around BigBlueButton with the refactoring and the plugins and stuff. So it's ambitious.
Yeah, and the end of the year is actually where the next developer summit will be back in Berlin, the 20th developer summit. So it seems like a long ways away, but it's not. I think I mentioned it, but it's probably worth emphasizing. Like 3.0 is going to go out with the current UI. There are already some improvements in the UI in 3.0, like the share webcam, thanks to Mconf, got simplified in that. You may see maybe some small updates, some small simplifications. I know we wanted to do a couple of things like, if you want to lock the chat, could you just have a lock in the chat instead of going to the settings and choosing lock settings? But most of the big stuff will come in a subsequent version of the 3.0.
As I said for my team, Fred, we have a prototype and a dream.
Well, actually, I think the design is so critical because then it frees the developers up to implement. It's really hard for a developer to create the UI. And actually, it's not easy to create the UI itself. Like, look at all the work that has gone into it so far. So I want to see like the UI, like this design or that or whatever would be like, here's the fairly complete UI. It's like designing a new font. You don't have to design all 26 characters, but if you design like 12 of the characters, you can pretty much figure out what the other 14 characters should look like. So
yeah,
I can already see, like, if this was the UI for version 3, what the language looks like, the rounded boxes, the spacing, the icons, the color. Like, it looks nice. I mean, coming back with the sort of a complete view of it, when we get that, that will free us up to implement. And I think it's worth pointing out too, there's two paths ahead. One is a rewrite of the UI, and another one is an incremental step towards a new UI. And rewrites are hard. Like, we're doing this right now with BigBlueButton. I mean, with the GraphQL and everything. And look, this project does not do things halfway. Like, we take big swings. You have to take some risks to get rewards. We certainly risked with putting TL Draw in. And we also, risked going all in on GraphQL. And then it's on the plugin architecture and now on the UI. But I think if we do the big risks, it pays off rewards. But for the UI, probably, design and incremental. There was a UI that you had, Bruno, that showed like a toolbar on the left-hand side. I think it was just a graphic design of it, but
just a minute. I think we have in Figma a prototype.
Oh,
just a minute.
Guys, you may be in for a bonus treat.
Wait a minute.
Just on Figma, Tyler has been following. I mean, you guys know the Figma Jam or the Create conference is just finishing up, and man, they are going for it to turn Figma into a platform to create components. And those components are largely React, and BigBlueButton is based in React. So how cool would it be to get to a place where a plugin could be done in Figma, and then through some automation, just generate the code that could be loaded into BigBlueButton? Sounds crazy, but probably not, given the AI that's capable today. Yeah.
We still working on it. I think we have something more deeply, but just an idea. This is the idea of a dark mode version. So we have also the idea that we can set the background, but it's like maybe one day, one step further. But we have like the sidebar with the profile, user list, chats, shared notes, polls, breakout rooms, widget gallery, the learning dashboard, other settings, and the media area here. So the idea is to click here and expand here, as we have today, but in a more fluent experience. So let me check if we have something opened here. Yeah, we have something similar that is going to be like this. So you click here, you open a new area, and you have the main area for content and camera on the side here. So you click here and you return to this one. Here we have something, for example. But you return to the main screen as I showed before, something like this. So that's the idea. But we have not working on an interactive prototype because we're still working on to define the UX for each tool. So we've been working on.
Wow.
I think Heymar, that's it. Heymar have a question?
I raised my hand. So yesterday we had seen this benchmarking with tons of hundreds of users, and the current UI gets slower and slower as much users we have in the users list. It's also very hard to find then the users there. We ask them raise hands, otherwise we don't find you. Have you looked on this case also? Was this also in this questionnaire? That's how to improve this, or were there requests on that?
Yeah, this is one thing that we've been talking since the summit in Berlin 2022, I guess. Because the raise hand experience, we can improve them, because I know sometimes people raise the hand if they want to talk, so the teacher needs to allow them the mic for the user. So we've been working on this feature, but we don't prototype it yet here in the new UI, but we have like in our backlog to improve this experience. And one thing that I didn't said before, but the idea of the new UI is have like a clean layout, a clean approach, because we want to give scale to this. So we have like a UI to support more users at the same time.
I will comment, Remar, that obviously in version 3.0, a lot of work has gone into the scalability of BigBlueButton so that it would be more responsive. But your point was the UI experience. Like, what happens if you have 500 users in the user list, which really begs to have like a search field or some filter field. Like, you know,
yeah, we have pagination for the images, but not for the user list. Something like this also. I don't know. It's very difficult to see also if the users you need in the session have already joined. So it's we have only 2 icons, so that's also something I was thinking about. If I have 5 presenters in a row, if I could somehow identify them by some other icon, so I can sort them by this, and I know they are there and they have not left, and I can give them presenter. Currently, I have to look up all as first name and then on second name, because I don't know how they entered that. Yeah. So
okay. So probably your idea of raising hands is the best one. And when I talk about incremental updates to BigBlueButton, we are pushing to support like 300, 400, 500, which will probably push us to have like a search field or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a search field appear in a subsequent version, and maybe that is part of one of those steps that we take towards improving the UI. But yeah. Looks like Bruno has already been thinking about it in his team. Yeah, that's the guest access, but yeah, just a simple field.
Yeah, I remember that in the summit in Balneário Camboriú, we talk about put a searching field here, but
it's not hard to visualize.
Yeah.
It would be a field where, as you type, it would only show you users with those characters.
But here's something nice that for the user list. Sorry, Fred, but you can follow how it's the internet connection of the user. You can block the chat, block the camera, block the mic, or not for each user individually. So it's something that is very nice also to teacher control the room.
Yeah. And Timo, I think we would agree, yes. The design of BigBlueButton, the philosophy has actually been, can we make the product more capable with each release, like 2.2, 2.3, 2.4? Can we make it more capable, but at the same time simpler? So sometimes you would see buttons disappear, sometimes they would come back. Like the minimize button in the lower right-hand corner, or minimize presentation is there now. We we said, okay, let's not put a logout button. It's just one less button. But of course, everyone looks for the logout button, which is where you'll see the logout button in version 3. So there is this tension between making the product as simple on face value and like as least cluttered as possible. And I think we're going to keep trying to do that. Things have organically kind of evolved over time in BigBlueButton, and I think it's definitely time to step back. All right, we'll take a few more questions. Again, this is the last session, and yeah, Bruno, probably you're better to speak to the mobile devices.
Yeah, we here at the Mconf we have like an application for mobiles that we have like a UI designed especially for this. The idea for this is to keep similar when we thinking how it's going to work on a mobile experience. So I'm trying to find my application here to share with you guys. Because here in Brazil, at least, a lot of users are from mobile because cultural difference. Because here it's cheaper to have a smartphone than a notebook. So a lot of students join meetings by cell phone. So we developed the application based on this. So the UI for mobile experience, it's a little bit different of what we have in the browser version for mobile in the BBB. So the idea is to get closer what we have in the application with the UI and UX. I'm talking a lot because I'm waiting to open my room here in the app. I think I need to update the application. But it's something that we think a lot. How can we do something for browser and for application? Because when we have just a responsive design, we know that the smartphone screen is very small compared to a monitor screen. So the idea to simplify the UI for the browser is also to simplify the UI for the mobile. So if we have like a responsive approach, the UI is going to be clean and easy to use. But I think I have the prototype of the app here in Figma. Just give me a few minutes here. If somebody has any question, please.
Please bring it up. And yeah, there has been actually work on the mobile side. We will probably be, it isn't to say we can't do a presentation on the mobile sometime between now and the next summit. Probably be nice to do like we do the BigBlueButton World once a year. there could the developer summit kind of lands halfway through, but we could do a few things leading up to it.
Here I have some prototype for the mobile. So let me check the online class here. Okay. We have some prototypes here. For example, the buttons of chat, microphone, camera are in the same area. When you click in the chat, you get like this approach. Instead of cover all the screen, you keep seeing the cameras, so you can send a message. You follow the chat. You can focus on the whiteboard in a full screen mode, so it's something that it's very nice for small screens. You can minimize the presentation, have the full camera here. Let me see what else we have in a mobile version. The idea of a sidebar, it is also similar that we're designing for this new UI. So use like the sidebar of the application to access some tools, but you keep your eye on the main room. Let me see what else we have here. This is the login area. Yeah, basically it's that. It's something that we've been still working and improving the experience in mobile. So it's very, very nice. I think Lucas, if Lucas is here, he can say something about it also.
If Lucas doesn't have to do any, but what we'll do, Bruno, I think is we'll pause here. This is a good time. There's more discussion on the mobile, and I think it will lead to more.
Yeah.
But we've had, that was a really good presentation in terms of just opening up what we're trying to do to improve the UI. And I think what's most important is the process we're going through, and really systematic and listening to many, many users, and of which I think we will publish more of this. I mean, this will be the published sort of stake in the ground for the roadmap. You'll see more things shared with the community. There are some customers that you're working with. There's customers that we're working with our Blind Side Networks hat on, and trying to make sure that we provide the best UI. There's a saying that if you talk to 5 people and they all say the same thing, probably don't need to talk to a 6th person. Like, it's going to be the same thing. So we have a lot more than 5 people between us.
Of course. And thank you everybody for joining the meeting. And then I even say sorry again for my voice. It's hard.
It's fine. Thank you for sharing the work that you and your team have been doing on the UI along with Tyler. The product will be better. It looks like it will be better, and it'll be a result of your work. Thanks again, Bruno.
Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.